In the next 30 minutes on the marketplace, the Ghana Statistical Service has revealed that the 2021 first quarter gross domestic product grew by 3.1%, the lowest since the quarter 1 2019 and quarter 1 2020 on a year-to-year basis. Of course, also
the oil perspective, as was indicated with the oil and from the oil and all the other sectors point of view, the first quarter of 2021, the economy has grown by 3.1%.
We have details on this. The planned SIM card re-registration to tackle fraud associated with remittance flow. We'll hear from the Communications Ministry.
Another major effort is the upcoming SIM re-registration exercise, a project being led by my ministry to weed out cyber fraud and criminality, especially within the mobile money sector.
Of course, also governments to unveil financial service hub at Sekondi Takoradi to equip young returning migrants. We'll hear from the Western Regional Minister.
Our financial services hub model offers opportunities for estate development, educational centers, and marine drive development. I will therefore.
And later in the bulletin, Agric Minister petitions to reform the fertilizer subsidy scheme. The Ghana Agric and Rural Development Association will join us for a discussion on this matter. We have all these coming up shortly after this break this day. Hello once again, you're welcome to the program. I'm Charles Aiche. The Ghana Statistical Service has revealed that the 2021 first quarter gross domestic product grew by 3.1%, the lowest since the quarter 1 of 2019 and as well the first quarter of 2020 on a year-to-year basis. According to government statistician Professor Kobina Enim, construction, manufacturing, crops, information and communication subsectors were the main drivers of GDP growth for the first quarter of this year.
In the sense that we need to look at it from different perspectives. One is to look at it strictly on a quarterly basis, that is quarter 1 2019 right down to the first quarter of 2021. And again, it's important to look at it from both the aggregated point and the disaggregated point. So from the aggregated point, if you're looking at it strictly from the oil perspective, as was indicated with the oil and from the oil and all the other sectors point of view, the first quarter of 2021, the economy has grown by 3.1%, and as was indicated, with the exception of the contractions that occurred in the second and third quarters of 2020, this is the lowest that we've recorded since the first quarter of 2019. So one should be careful in alluding to some stability being achieved. So although we are beginning to see a growth rate, and indeed with all the sectors put together and from the oil point of view, the economy grew by 3.1%. Again, discounting the effect of oil and looking at it from the non-oil perspective, the economy in the first quarter of 2021 grew by 4.6%, and this is not the lowest since 2019. So from that point of view, you can say that the growth rate for the first quarter of 2021 from the non-oil perspective is sort of the average around what has happened over the quarters since 2019, when we know that in the third quarter of 2019 the non-oil growth rate was 4.4%. Again, if you look at this from the average point of view, we are comparing the growth rate in the oil sector by 3.1% with an average of 4.3 right from the period the first quarter of 2014 and the first quarter of 2021. So over this period, from the oil point of view, the economy grew by 4.3%, and this is significantly lower than the current growth rate of 3.1%. So it's always important to look at the base for comparison. And this also varies across the three subsectors, where we see the industry subsector showing a significant drop with an average figure of 5.1% for the period, the first quarter of 2014 to 2021 first quarter included. Then specifically for the first quarter of 2021, the growth rate within the industry sector is 1.3%. This is the other side of the argument if you look at it from the industry and the services subsectors.
Well, meanwhile, the Ghana Statistical Service also swore in a monitoring team for the 2021 population census to ensure confidentiality of data gathered. Let's listen to government statistician once again.
2021 population and housing census, we are not just decentralizing the processes of data collection, which happens in the field. So there's obvious reasons why you need to decentralize it. But one of the things that we are decentralizing in the 2021 population and housing census is the handling of the data. So today we've gathered in here with all our 37 regional data quality monitors who have been assigned to our 32 statistical regions representing our 16 administrative regions. The other reason why this engagement is very critical for us has to do with the whole idea of institutionalizing a data monitoring layer in our activities. Previous censuses, because we're not using tablets, we always had to finish with the data collection exercise before we look at the quality of the data. For us at Ghana Statistical Service, we say we are not only deploying a digital census, we say we are deploying a fully digital census. And one of the dimensions that makes it a fully digital census is that we are not just receiving the data in real time, we are assessing the data quality and ensuring that the accuracy of the data is up to a standard that we all require. So that is the second reason why I think it's important for us to put this exercise out there so that the general public will be aware of our undertaking, our processes in the census activity. The third one, which is of great importance and interest to the general public, is what the Statistical Service Act stipulates, which has to do with strict confidentiality of the data that we get from our respondents. And one of the categories of persons in the census undertaking are our regional data quality monitors, to ensure that we protect the data that we are receiving. In addition to the encryption of the data, in addition to de-identifying the data, and in addition to anonymizing the data, today we're going to get all our 37 regional data quality monitors to swear an oath of secrecy, which means that under no circumstance, whether with intent or otherwise, will the data that we are giving to you be given to a third party without authorization. Indeed, as I indicated, we are putting in all the technology measures to ensure that the data is de-identified, anonymized, encrypted, and doesn't go out. But on top of that, we are getting you to swear an oath of secrecy.
Well, the Ministry of Communications and Digitalization has revealed that the SIM card re-registration exercise government seeks to embark on by the end of this month also seeks to combat fraud associated with the flow of remittances in the country. According to the ministry's chief director, Magdalene Apintin, even though transactions for 2020 registered a 6% contribution to GDP, frustrations associated with remittance flows still persist. She spoke at a conference organized by ZPay Ghana to commemorate the International Day for Family Remittance.
The government is undertaking the Rural Telephony Project through Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communications, an agency under my ministry, which is expected to close the void created by mobile network operators' inability to extend coverage to communities with populations below 1,000 for commercial and economic purposes. GIFEC, as part of its mandate, is implementing this project to provide voice and data services to unconnected communities in Ghana. 400 communities have since benefited within the last 2 years, with over 600,000 people connected. Under this project, over 82 community information centers have also been connected to the internet. These communities would ultimately experience the ability to be able to use the mobile money activities for their various businesses. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, one of the key challenges identified is the activities of miscreants and fraudsters who take advantage of the system to defraud innocent customers. Mobile money fraud is a great challenge to the operations of mobile money activities in Ghana. Another major effort is the upcoming SIM re-registration exercise, a project being led by my ministry to weed out cyber fraud and criminality, especially within the mobile money sector. Mr. Chairman, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, partnerships are key to implementing successful initiatives, building on specific knowledge, expertise, and lessons learned, and to filling information gaps. The government is eager and is willing to partner private sector entities to promote the digitalization of the financial sector through such innovative and exciting activities within the digital ecosystem. In my opinion, over the next few years, mobile money will be more relevant in the economic and financial lives of Ghanaian households and businesses. Indeed, Africa stands to gain immensely from remittances as we identify and promote digitization through active, reliable, and effective connectivity to promote financial transactions across the globe.
Well, meanwhile, the managing director of Zipe, Andrew Techiapia, says that his outfit is committed to improving upon the 3.5 billion remittance flow transactions recorded last year.
The 6% is for actually 2020. In 2020, Ghana did 3.5 billion, amounting to about 23 million transactions. Zipe contributed 2.4 million of that. In 2021 first half, we've done just about the same as what we did 2020 full year. As at Monday, we had done about $420 million at about 2.1 million transactions. This year, we're poised to do 4.5 million transactions at $840 million. Beyond that contribution, we're also contributing to improving the lives of immigrants and diasporans. Some of these events are some of the things we do as a thought leadership to bring remittances to the forefront and to make it a policy agenda with government, which is why we work with partners like IOM and partners like UNCDF. For us, remittance will remain our business model, remittance to wallet, and we'll continue to do this across the continent. As you might know, we recently acquired Mangui in Zambia to become Zipe in Zambia. We're on a journey to acquire as many as we can to build an African story, which is led by Africans.
Well, government is set to unveil a financial service at Takoradi in the Western region. That's according to the Western Regional Minister, Kwabena Otri Darko. His confidence that this will ensure economic prosperity through job creation for the youth in the region. Mr. Darko spoke at the Zipe conference to commemorate the International Day for Family Remittance.
It is our agenda to work to make Western region the place of choice for all forms of investment. So if those of you who are on my page, you realize that every day I talk about investment in the Western region. It is a region that has and still continue to contribute greatly to Ghana's economic growth. In fact, Western region contributes more than 50% of Ghana's GDP. But in this age of digitalization and abundant youth and exuberant talent, the Western region is thinking anew. Allow me to give you a gist of the things we are doing to consolidate the model region that we are undertaking. Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm delighted to inform you that the Western region has taken a bold step to support all these governments of Ghana initiatives by carving our part of the Western Corridor into a fintech enclave, for the simple objective of encouraging young returning migrants to articulate their own future by leveraging the technology wave going on with the fourth industrial revolution. We believe this will not only attract returning migrants, but will also bring economic prosperity to an area which is largely populated by the youth. Digitization is high on our agenda. Our youth digitization program, TED iCode, offers startups and incubation platform for all forms of entrepreneurs and enterprises that need renewal. Our financial services hub model offers opportunities for estate development, educational centers, and marine drive development. I would therefore like to use this special opportunity that has been offered me by this program to unveil our Financial Services Hub project for the Sekondi Takoradi Metropolis, which will connect to the furthest part of our region from not more than 2.5 hours all the way to Samrabwe.
We have more stories coming up shortly on the marketplace after this break. Do stay. Well, let's now take you to Abossey-Okai, where shops of spare part dealers have been razed down by fire. Co-chair of the Abossey-Okai Spare Parts Dealers Association, Clement Boateng, joins us via phone. We're so grateful that you joined us. So first of all, what exactly are you learning from the ground? I'm afraid we've lost him, but we'll try reconnecting. But these are pictures that we've picked following the Abossey-Okai fire that we're gathering happened in the early hours of the morning. And thankfully, we have Clement Boateng join us once again to give us some information what exactly he knows about this development. Mr. Boateng, we're grateful. So what exactly are you picking from what happened in the early morning of today?
Yeah, good afternoon to your listeners, and thank you for having me. Yeah, like I told you earlier on, I've been in the house, but information that I'm picking is that there is some fire outbreak in Abossey-Okai at one of our shops, and the building that the fire occurred is a building that they have flowed the top, and then have put some plastic and rubber materials at the top of the building. So an eyewitness who were there when the incident happened, just told us that just at a point in time they saw that there is fire, in the plastics and the rubbers that have been put at the top, and they don't know actually where the fire was coming from. So it looks as if we are all, suspecting and accident, because we actually don't know where the fire was coming from. And looking at the place that the fire was coming, it is at the top. So how can the fire, get there? Definitely, maybe it is somebody who intentionally, put fire in those plastic, and then, the place started burning. So what we suspect at the moment is an accident.
Okay, so help us understand how many shops have been affected by this.
Yeah, like I'm telling you, the thing happened at the top, and all the shops are down. So God being so good, it actually didn't affect any shop, and so therefore there's also no casualty. It's only those plastics and those rubbers at the top that got bent, but no casualty, and then no shop also actually was affected.
Clement Boateng, we're so grateful that you joined us. These are pictures that we've picked, amateur pictures as well, from eyewitnesses who saw this for themselves, the ravages of the disaster which happened in the early hours of today. We shall be keeping a close eye on this, as Clement Boateng, the co-chair of the Abossey-Okai Spare Part Dealers, is suspecting arson in the wake of this accident. Well, away from that, the recent bullion van attack which occurred at the timber market here in Accra reinforces the need for more cash-like transactions. That's according to banking consultant and former managing director of Bank of Africa, Medson Tokonum. The Bank of Ghana is set to push all financial institutions to fully comply with the directive of using armored bullion vans for carting currencies in the country. It was one of the issues discussed at an emergency meeting convened by the governor, Dr. Ernest Addison, yesterday. Medson Tokonum spoke to Joy Business.
End of this month is too early. If they give them about 3 months to order these armored vehicles, they are not around the shops that you're going to be buying. You have to order them. So I think Bank of Ghana should be a little bit lenient with the banks so that they can satisfy everybody.
And when you have the IGP also on your neck saying that you have till the end of the month, it gives them really no choice, does it?
Yeah, that's very true. But I can imagine the banks in a very difficult position. I think they need to dialogue with the IGP. I believe that if they give them some space, even if you want to establish letters of credit, for the billion vans to come, I don't think it will be within 90 days. I mean, that's the best they can do. So I think the banks should dialogue with the IGP. Let them show to the IGP that they are serious, and all of them are making efforts in order to get the billion vans. I think that is what they should do.
And this incident has brought to the fore, once again, the need for us to step up electronic transactions. That sounds plausible, only I think it would take a while to drastically reduce cash transactions.
That is exactly that. The next thing that Bank of Ghana needs to do is to find out how we can begin to do electronically some of these movements. We are going towards a cashless society. So I think Bank of Ghana should think behind what they have now asked them to do. Because eventually we need to go to a cashless, society.
Related stories. The Ghana Agric and Rural Development Journalists Association has petitioned the Agric Minister calling for the establishment of a committee to probe operations of the fertilizer subsidy program. Now, the two-page petition wants the scheme reformed to put farmers at the center of the scheme to ensure efficiency and transparency in the program. According to the association, a whopping 120 million cedis was lost in 2017 and 2018 as a result of mismanagement of the scheme in the 2017 and 2018 planting seasons alone. The president of the association, Richmond Frimpong, joins us live with more. Richmond, we're grateful that you joined us. What exactly do you want the Minister of Agric to do about the issue regarding fertilizer subsidy? I'm afraid we've lost him there, but we shall try and get him back. Richmond, if you could hear me, what exactly remains your commitments to ensuring that the Agric Minister, puts everything together to ensure that fertilizer subsidy is much more prudent? Can you hear me, Richmond? I'm afraid we've lost Richmond there, but we shall try and get him back, especially when they are petitioning the Minister for Agric to, as a matter of urgency, deal with the fertilizer subsidy, which they claim has been ridden with so much corruption and mismanagement at the tune of over 120 million Ghana cedis. We shall try and raise a line to get in touch with Richmond on his take on this. But in the meantime, let's bring you up to date with how best to spend your money in this edition of Money Lab. Well, I think before we put in Money Lab, let's reconnect once again to Richmond. Richmond, before we lost you there, I wanted to find out from you, what exactly do you want the Minister for Agric to do about the issue of fertilizer subsidy?
All right, what we want the government or the ministry to do now is to pull the farmers at the center of the scheme. Reason being that when you go to the advanced countries, the government deals directly with the cooperative, that's the farmers' cooperative. But here is the case, the farmers over the years have not been actively engaged in the disbursement or distribution of the fertilizer to the government or to the people. And this has created a kind of avenue for people to steal and also do smuggle and diversion of the fertilizer to their advantage. As you rightly put it, just last week, Friday, one of the
You there, Richmond? I'm afraid his connection has not been so fair to him. Unfortunately, we'd have to move on. But of course, as I said before Richmond reconnected, let's now bring you some tips on how best to spend your money in this edition of Money Lab.
On Money Lab today, we continue our discussion on how micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises can position their companies in order to attract funding. In the previous edition, we discussed the business plan. For today, we are going to look at record keeping. No serious investor will put their money in any company that does not keep records. It is very important for companies to keep records of all their operations, and this is what they use to prepare their financial statements. These financial statements will give the investors the sense of the profitability and efficiency of the company. It is also important that These financials are prepared according to required standards and audited. Join us in our next edition as we conclude our discussion on how companies can position their businesses for funding.
Well, I trust you took down some notes. That's how we also end Marketplace. My name is Charles Aite. For more news, you log on to myjoyonline.com/business for each and every story to get yourself updated in Ghana. Once again, thank you very much for watching and enjoy the rest of our programs.